God bless the Mountaineers, and God bless West Virginia. Yeah! I'm on that
shit! Big wins call for big hats, Noah. Big calls pre-game earlier in the week result in big money and big opportunity. How about them Mountaineers, Noah? How about it? Huh? How about it? For one time the world felt right today as a West Virginia fan. I could feel it in the air today. Things just felt right, man. What a game, Noah. An instant classic. I mean, there's really no other way to describe it other than that. This is a game when we kind of look back on things in, I don't know, 5, 6 years. This is going to be the game that you put on YouTube when you're pre-gaming to go out with your boys or whatever. You're just killing time. This is the game. That's the type of feel that it had. The ups, the downs, so many emotions. I know both of our voices are kind of chalked first from screaming and things like that. But, man, so many things to unpack, Noah. What's kind of just your overall thoughts? We've kind of had a full day to let it sit, marinate. What do you got?
It was a huge win for the program, Gage. I mean, over the past 4 years, there's been so much heartbreak in West Virginia, especially over this football team. I mean, hell, Gage, 2 years ago, we were 9-3 under Neil Brown, and we just won our second game of the year, and I felt on top of the world last night, right? We beat Pitt. You beat the crosstown rivalry. I mean, it was huge, too. I think it's even bigger for the program after losing the game last week, right? It showed you that there was no quit here, right? Rich Rod even says it. You know, if you're a Mountaineer, you don't quit. The longer the game, the better we are. And I think that's exactly what, he's kind of building this culture here in West Virginia. And people have to realize that, it's not going to be overnight snap. It gets turned around. But you can see slowly that culture, the tempo and how it impacts the game. All the things he wants to instill into this program was kind of showed on display last night. Like that hard edge mentality, right? Like Tai Edwards fit that so well yesterday. And we'll get into him more. But I mean, gosh, Gage, it was just a program changing. It's like you didn't go all the way over the hump, but you started to climb it. And I think it was very, very, I actually don't want to use that starting to climb. I don't want to use that, Gage, right?
Yeah.
But definitely started to get on the right track of things here. And I think we see what Rich Rod has intact for us over the next 5-6 years, however long he stays around.
Like you said, huge win for the program under the Rich Rod era, the new Rich Rod era, I should say. I think some of the things that we really keyed on in our pregame video that really played an aspect of this game was the crowd, Noah. I think you could just tell, even from watching on TV, how loud that place actually was. And, people at the game we talked to, this was a situation, nobody left the game, Noah. Even down 10, Pitt win probability is 90% or higher, whatever it is. Nobody left. That's the type of hold and grasp that this kind of rivalry has on both of these fan bases. And we just saw last year, I believe it was the game last year, where we blew the 10-point lead. And now to watch it unfold on the flip side was just so relieving as a fan. Like we've been saying, it feels like time and time again, things are never going our way. And today we finally had one go our way. So we praise God for that. And hey, God loves West Virginia. God bless the Mountaineers, as Rich Rod said. Absolutely awesome. So let's dive into things, Noah. A lot to discuss. Let's start with not negatives, but some things that are kind of factored away because we won the game, all right? I'll do a quick hitter real quick. Jamori was on the dress list. I'm not positive if he ended up dressing or not dressing, but as far as we know, if Zach Alley felt like he needed to play him that game, he could have played. So he is eligible moving forward. That's basically what I'm saying, which is good. And I think it's one of the situations where he's going to need time to ramp up and get into game shape. Okay. We've talked about how it's kind of fits that mold of when guys in the NFL miss their training camp because of contract issues or lingering injuries, stuff like that. It takes time to build up to your game speed. I think with Tai Edwards, we saw, instead of just inserting him into the offense when maybe we needed him, it looks like we did, right? But you see where he was at as far as the game speed. And I think that was that slowly gradual buildup that we as fans don't see and that's the result you kind of get. So I kind of expect the same thing for Jamori on the defensive side of the ball. Would expect to see a lot more of him at Kansas if I had to bet money. Number 2, Noah, let's discuss the Scotty Fox situation before we start kind of hammering away at all the positive things. You and I are sitting there. They come out of halftime, and I want to go on record saying I thought Nico played well enough to not get pulled. I didn't understand the reasoning. Obviously, Rich Rod comes out and said, hey, we're looking for a spark, things like that. I felt like Nico's play was good enough to not be pulled and kind of kill the consistency and momentum that your offense had throughout the first half. Now, Scotty Fox come in. He has one good drive where it ultimately leads to a scoring drive. I believe that was one where he hit Justin Smith-Brown, long run. They punch it in. And then freshman mistakes. And that's kind of where I was talking about. It's just not the right time to insert your talented freshman quarterback. This is a big game. I just think you could tell that Scotty Fox felt that. He was just trying to do too much, forcing the ball. He threw the one into double coverage, the other one just right at him. It's just a little bit too much on a freshman's shoulders to insert him in that game. If it was Ohio, sure. You know what I mean? I would have rather saw him that game than coming out of halftime at Pitt. I mean, what do you think? Because we saw, once again, Nico, Henderson, Scotty. Nico proved it to me. I mean, we go back and forth about this quarterback stuff, but Nico leading a 10-point comeback proved to me that he should have a way longer leash, if not just be the clear-cut starter. And you have a perfect take on this, so I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, Gage. So we know, from watching Rich Rod football, that establishing the run with all players that are able to run the football, quarterback, slot receivers, running back, that's a big thing. That's what he emphasizes, Gage. And something I was kind of thinking about yesterday and kind of spoke to you about it is right now, Nico gives us the best chance to win football games, right? I think that's after watching yesterday, after watching Scotty, he had some freshman mistakes, and those are going to happen when you're a freshman, right? But we know now that, we have the talent to win games here, right? You just won a huge game. So what you have to look at, inserting Nico back in that game, you kind of said, okay, he's the way, he is the person that's going to win us this game. He's a better, he's a better passer. That was seen yesterday. Rich Rod kind of has to ask himself, do I sacrifice a little bit of my identity this year? That culture. You don't have to sacrifice as much of your culture, but sacrifice a little bit of what you are identity-wise, meaning he wants to be able to run the football often with his quarterback. Unfortunately, Nico's not that guy. Nico's a willing runner, and I'm not saying he's not, but he does struggle. His feet are a little bit heavier.
Specifically outside the pocket.
Yes. So Rich Rod has to ask himself, do you sacrifice a little bit of your identity for just this year, right? You'll be able to build whatever you want. Next year, you'll have your full building blocks, whatever you want. Will you sacrifice a little bit of your identity for this year to win games, right? And to be in games, to produce, right? Because here's the thing, Gage. We just had 80 new players come on this roster, right? The last thing anybody's going to do, if we would go out here and to only win 2 more games, the recruits, all these people, they will not come, right? Because you're building everything back. If you could keep wins and sacrifice a little bit of what Rich Rod wants to be, what he wants to get back to Pat White and Steve Slayton, Tyler, these guys that he's had all the way through. He wants to get back to that. You can sacrifice this and base this a little bit more around Nico than you thought you were going to. I think it could be a very, very successful offense. I mean, Grayson Barnes, Gallagher, and we'll get into everybody that stepped up because there are some guys that we have to key on. But Tai Edwards, Clay Ash in that backfield, and Nico just being a quarterback, game manager, and he throws the football well. 19 for 25, 192 yards, and a TD in a place that, you needed it, man. You spit the ball in a window. It was phenomenal by Nico. I think he won this starting job. But like I said, just speaks character about himself coming into that game. Never hung his head. Come back in that last drive to lead us to win that. Puts it into overtime. Just phenomenal play by Nico. Can't praise him enough. And like I said, you just can't go into how many other college kids with the wrong attitude would have went and been pouting on the sidelines because they got pulled from the game in that situation. Like I said, just getting into it, Rich Rod, yes, you might have to sacrifice a little bit of your identity because Nico has a lot to work with there, in my opinion.
I think there was a clip after the game too. Everybody celebrating on the field, and Nico and Rich Rudd kind of met each other, gave a huge hug, and Rich Rudd kind of pounding Nico's chest, and he was like, "You just showed me," or he said something like that. He's like, "Just showed me tonight." It's awesome because you could tell in that clip, Nico obviously is one of the very few people on this team who has been here and faced Pitt multiple years. A lot of these guys, this was the first time playing in the Backyard Brawl, and they talked about it, and it seemed like they loved it. And it's awesome that they get to experience the winning side of that instead of the blowing the 10-point lead losing side. But the losing 10-point lead in 4 minutes Neil Brown era, right? That sort of pain and just thinking about that game all the time kind of fuels the fire for guys like Nico and who were around the still stayed and is now playing under Rich Rod. So I think he definitely just had the fire lit under his ass and was ready to go when his number was called. And that's what he's a very grown-up quarterback, right? He's a very mature kid. You can tell by his press conferences, you can tell by his demeanor, the way that he plays. I think he's a leader. I just think that, like what you said, there are certain times in this offense, schematically, where he's going to struggle, and he's not necessarily the quarterback that a typical Rich Rod offense would have. Now, if we kind of move on with things and he kind of solidifies, okay, Nico is the quarterback, and then maybe we're seeing a Henderson or Scotty Fox for a couple design plays later on, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to say I'm cool with it and I can agree with it. I'm okay with that. But it can't be something where you're just playing hot potato with your quarterback on any drive, right? Because it kind of looked like this for about the entire third quarter. Rich Rod's like this. Here's Nico. Here's Henderson. Here's Scotty Fox. That's what it looked like, right? I don't know. And I have no doubts that those guys were prepared to play, but we keep talking. It's hard to just come into the game as a quarterback, especially in an intense rivalry game. And let's transition, Noah, to the kind of star of this game, in my opinion. The guy that we've been waiting on, not only when Jaheim went down, this kind of just more solidifies why we needed him. Welcome to the team, Tai Edwards, man. Welcome to the team, right? This, I fully believe in my heart, Noah. Even watching that game, Rich Rod just found his Trey Stewart from Jacksonville State. That's exactly what I was watching when I saw that. I said, this is his guy. This is the hot hand. He is the starter the rest of the year. And my heart is still full for Jaheim. We're sitting there watching the game. It's like, especially you win, there's so many emotions, and Jaheim doesn't get to be on the field celebrating and stuff. Don't quote me. He may have already, I know his surgery was kind of getting in place last I heard, so I'm not sure if it's already done or whatever, but yeah, still thinking of Jaheim. But Tai Edwards comes in, 25 carries, Noah, 141 yards, and 3 touchdowns. What more can you ask for in your Mountaineer debut, Noah? What can you ask for?
Yeah, in the Backyard Brawl too, Gage. It's going to go down as a legend in the Backyard Brawl. No matter how long, what happens the rest of the season, we're all going to be talking about Tai Edwards for the rest of our life. You remember that? It kind of reminded me, Gage, a few years ago when C.J. Donaldson comes in, and he was playing tight end, but they moved him over to running back and has the huge game in the Brawl. Kind of reminded me of that. It's kind of similar play style. The guy runs tough, man. Shoulder pads downhill, has good vision. And he's bursty, man. He's very, very quick for his size. Man, phenomenal. I even love, Gage, I'll even go into depth here a little bit. The split on the carries was what I like to see. Tai Edwards, 25. Clay Ash, 12. Sincere only got 1 carry. Now, what I think could happen, you could see Sincere get 4, 5 more carries. Clay Ash drop a couple carries there. So he steals, say Clay Ash and Sincere both get 10 carries at the end of the game. That would be a beautiful split for me in that running back room because there's a lot of potential there. Tai Edwards in that jumbo package, people are going to be preparing for that because that jumbo package is nice, right? And when you were kind of hitting on the install packages for, Jalen or Scotty Fox, that is a package where I would love to see Jalen and or Scotty because they have a little bit more of the running game. And, man, they would be very hard to stop when you have all linemen on the field and you got 2 skill players and just say, come at me, line it up, we're tougher than you, we're going to go downhill. That was rich. That was hard edge football right there, Gage, when that jumbo package came in. I love to see it.
Yeah, Clay Ash, I like what you mentioned there. He's kind of also a better receiving back than Tai Edwards, more so just due to natural kind of body type, if that makes sense. Sometimes those guys who are very good downhill runners and things like that will not struggle in the pass game, but side to side, especially catching the ball and being able to cut up field, things like that. I was glad to see Clay Ash. He had 4 catches for 32 yards. But yeah, man, I mean, between the tackles, just downhill runner. Tai Edwards showed up, showed out, did his thing. Like you said, stamped his approval, Mountaineer legend. So absolutely great game. Let's talk a little bit of the receiver room, Noah. Cam Vaughn, once again, another quiet day, 3 catches, 34 yards. Are is that a cause for concern for you, or you think it's more so Pitt knows, hey, this is one of the big time playmakers that this offense has. We had to key in and kind of hold this guy down.
And that's exactly what they did, Gage. Hold. I don't know. I think there was 3 or 4 penalties where we throw the ball down the field, and there is pass interference on Pitt. That's what Cam Vaughn's going to do, and it's what he helps this offense with. He is the downfield threat. You can throw him the ball up. A couple times there was no PI, and I'm thinking, man, he's getting held, 6, 7, 8 yards down the field on maybe a deep post or a skinny post, I guess I'd say. He is fitting very well, and because we saw Rodney Gallagher kind of take a little bit of a bigger role there yesterday and kind of step up into the Jaden Bray role, I love to see that. Since he did that, teams aren't going to be able to say, look, the only receiver we have to worry about is Cam Vaughn. It's going to open up Cam Vaughn, right? So I really like what I saw from Cam. Like I said, there's not every time he comes out there. I mean, hell, we watch Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, all these elite guys every Sunday. And sometimes the other team just says, look, we're taking you out of the ball game. And I think that's what Pitt attempted to do. Same as Ohio last week. That's kind of what people are game planning for, knowing that is our deep threat, our receiving threat, big playmaker out there on the outside. If other guys, such as Rodney Gallagher, Justin Smith-Brown, these guys can step up into the role. Preston Fox had some good catches yesterday. If they can all step up and play their part, that will only help Cam Vaughn in the long run. So there's going to be a game here where Cam Vaughn's Big 12 Player of the Week, I'm telling you, because he's going to torch some cornerbacks. If you don't have a guy that can stay across from him and stay with him step for step, because there's not many that can, if you're not playing over top safety help, he's going to burn some guys, and you're going to see a big game here soon for Cam Vaughn.
Yes, especially with Nico throwing him the rock there. Like you said, Rodney Gallagher had a phenomenal game. 7 catches, 61 yards. If I remember correctly, a good bit of his production came during those clutch drives too, right? When we were like down by 10 and then down by 7, whatever it was. So, yeah, a huge game. I thought he was very steady in the receiving game, and we needed that. We needed the stability with Jaden Bray being gone. So let's flip to what we are excited to talk about, man. What do you got? I was going to say the defense.
One more offensive guy I did want to hit on, Gage, that I thought was a very, very key guy in this game, especially on those last drives, were Grayson Barnes. Man, I love a good tight end play, and he just seemed to always – he was what a tight end's supposed to be. Sure hands, not the most athletic guy on the field, big, uses his body. You saw that on his touchdown catch there at the end. Kind of shields the guy with his back, catches it, good, solid hands. Very, very good game by Grayson Barnes. I hope that continues to improve, but we can go ahead and hit on the defense. Didn't want to miss it.
Yeah, definitely needs more touches in my opinion. Like, hey, we are scheming this guy to get the ball. I thought he had a really good game. Defensively, once again, it had some aspects of Ohio where with the 2 interceptions, the defense was trotting back on the field, starting with shitty field position. But, man, come on. I mean, just give the guy his flowers. We're never, once again, right now you can get West Virginia as a 12.5-point underdog versus Kansas. With the defense in the way they're playing, I just don't see us losing by 12 in any world, or 13, I should say, 12.5. 13 or 14 points right now with the way the defense is playing. Noah, the defense plays with an SEC caliber in terms of physicality, right? And once again, this is kind of due to the rivalry and things like that. But the 3 games we've watched, this defense hits. These linebackers hit. I believe it was Ashton Woods who got the targeting, right? Love it. I love it. Should have hit him harder, right? And the picture of Holstein in his interview after the game with the thing shoved up his nose and cut eye looked like he just went 12 rounds with Terrence Crawford, who we watched last night in boxing, right? It looked like he went 12 rounds with Terrence Crawford. But you went 4 quarters with Zach Alley and Fred Perry and Eddie Kelly, Eddie V. The entire defense showed up. And we had no doubts, right? Secondary played good. Darian Lewis with another interception, back-to-back weeks. Man, it's so nice. It's so nice to watch this team have a defense after these last kind of previous years. And I think it kind of results in a thing of like West Virginia, hard edge, all that stuff. Your offense kind of primarily leans on this run game. You got to have a good defense. And I like when our safeties are Fred Perry and everybody else in that room and come down in the box and will hit. Right? Desmond Reed didn't finish the game, Noah. Lower body injury, I don't know. There was 150 Pitt guys laying on the floor on both offense or the turf, offense and defensive side. It was just, we were more physical in my opinion. I thought we were just more physical than Pitt. I really do.
Yeah, Gage, that was a very defining point in the game that I saw. Holstein gets a run on the goal line, and I remember looking at you. I was like, that dude better buckle his chin strap because he didn't even have it tight, and you hit him, and you saw his helmet go sideways. They were on a mission yesterday, and it's not just yesterday, Gage. We saw it in games before, like you said. These guys come to play football. A couple, very small, little critique things that Zach Alley will hit on. There was one lost guy in coverage, and then Fred Perry got beat once deep, and you're asking Fred Perry to do a lot on that defense. So if he's only getting beat deep once, I'm actually okay with it, especially the way he comes off the edge. So just was a very, very good performance from the defensive unit. Like I said this in the video before, and you just kind of hit on it. We're going to be in a lot more games than we probably should be because the defense is so, so good. Just bend, but don't break. And there were a couple times, Gage, where the ball's out and we have the ball at the end of the play and they had called it whatever, but they are forcing turnovers. They are stripping the football, right? And we almost had another interception there to seal it in overtime. He was so excited. That guy was so excited to catch that he just forgot to catch it. Like, it was serious. It was serious.
Yeah, you're right. That's why when they say that's why he's playing cornerback and not receiver.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of emotions and stuff. And that's that's actually, if you're kind of done with the defense, I want to wrap things up with the Rich Rod kind of emotional aspect because I think it's a huge thing with this game. I think obviously all the stuff after the game, the interviews, he kind of had his key signature moments. He's literally running around the field, looking into the crowd, tears, somewhat rolling down his eyes, not fully, looking into the fan base going, well, I forget exactly what he said. He basically gave him the Kirk Cousins, right? You like that shit, huh? How about that shit? That's what he said. How about that shit, right? I'm thinking to myself, this is what it's all about, man. When he comes back and takes this job, he had this game circled. You could tell, Noah, you could tell this meant the world to him to get this win for the fan base. And it's just, I think you could see too, it's just a huge weight off his shoulders now, right? He can celebrate now, and he said it, right? We're going to enjoy this one for 24 hours, maybe 24 and a half, but it's back to work. I think it's just a huge weight off his shoulders. He delivered to the fan base. This one means a ton to us.
Yeah, Gage. Nothing bigger than this game on this schedule currently, right? I don't exactly know if there's going to be a bigger game this year than what we just played, right? Because that was so, 9-13, we lost to him. That's, it kind of, some people say that Pitt loss makes Rich Rod leave West Virginia, right? So just everything, whenever you look at it though, Gage, and right before we started this, I went back and watched the game again, just so I could feel everything, one more time. And the longer I'm watching this game and getting into it, these guys were playing for Rich. They knew what this game meant to Rich Rod. And those guys, every time Tai Edwards got the ball, he's running as hard as he can. Every time they make a tackle on defense, they're hitting him as hard as he can. It was like everything, like Rich Rod, the amount of improvement, right, from what we saw last week into this week. Rich Rod fired these guys up, Gage. He got these guys ready. The offensive line, man, the peaks and bounds that we performed better, you cannot tell me that Rich Rod did not go spend, 2 days with those guys just absolutely tearing into them. Not in a bad way, but just like encouraging these guys to get better. He knows they have the potential to do it. Just when you look at what these guys played with, they were playing for their head coach. And that's something I feel like we haven't did at West Virginia in a while. They were playing because they believed in the guy ahead of them, and they knew what it meant for him, knew what it meant for Rich Rod. And I love to see it, and I think it's, very good, building blocks for this team, for this program.
The drive, the 13-play, 87-yard drive in 2 minutes and 36 seconds to tie the game. That was where Grayson Barnes catches it. It's such a legacy drive for him, Noah. From both Rich Rod calling the plays to Nico operating it to everybody involved on the offensive side of the ball. That right there is just pure grit, right? He said it, longer the game goes, the more it favors the Mountaineers. And he gave it, I fully believe now, he had his entire heart on the field, right? He had everything out there. This meant everything to him. And I think at the end of the day, man, it's a win. You move on to next week, obviously. Like you said, we can sit here and enjoy this one for a little bit because it's a big game, and we've said it. You can win this game and lose every single other one, and it's technically considered a good season, right? It's a good season. And, once again, man, I think where we were right about this, the better team doesn't always win in this situation, right? You drop a game to the MAC. I still think, Noah, I don't know, call me crazy. Not by a landslide, but do you believe that we were maybe a little bit more talented than Pitt? I know Desmond Reed didn't play, and that's a huge factor for them on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know. What do you think in terms of talent-wise? Do you think we matched up with a kind of a mid-tier ACC team, or I don't know, did you think that this was kind of an underdog, these guys playing up to level, and we just smacked them in the mouth?
I think kind of what you said, Gage. Reed was probably one of the better players on the field yesterday, right? We know that. We've watched him last year. Very solid player. I think they might have had, the more studded stars, right? Like they have, the one or two guys. What West Virginia has, Gage, is depth. We got a lot of guys that can play football, right? You're going 2 or 3 deep in the receiver, multiple receiver positions. You showed you're going 2 or 3 deep at the running back positions. Like, if you're going to play that up-tempo, that upbeat, a lot of guys are going to get chances, to play. And I think more of our guys were ready to play. We had more, a more lump amount of talent than they did. They had 1 or 2 guys that were, they're for real. Like, we watched them. Raphael Williams, serious, like some serious talent there. But, overall in the whole, I think we were the more talented football team, Gage. And that's year one, in bringing in 80 new guys. So
100%, my man. Hey, like I said, we're going to enjoy this one. Phenomenal win for Pitt. Phenomenal win for WVU. Phenomenal win for Rich Rod. We got to go recover, Noah. I mean, I'm going to keep it straight up with you. We're tired. The boys got banged up a little bit. We did what Mountaineers did. I fully believe in my heart, if you weren't hungover on Sunday, you're not a Mountaineer. All right, that's kind of my final thought, my final takeaway. Guys, appreciate you watching, man. What a win. There's no other way to say it. What a win. Shout out Pat McAfee for picking us. 2 middle fingers up to Nick Saban. How the hell is Nick Saban going to pick Pitt? I get it, Alabama, nothing really to do with West Virginia. Yeah, come on, Nick Saban. But that's fine, right? That's the way we like it. WVU, Pat McAfee versus the world, Noah. That's how we like it.
Sir.
So guys, we'll be back on it probably Wednesday for the Kansas preview. A lot to kind of dissect with them as they've we've saw Jalen Daniels now at his peak, and we've also saw Jalen Daniels at the bottom. And that's exactly what we said. And if you can get Jalen Daniels at the bottom on an away game, you have a legitimate chance to build serious momentum and win this first game of Big 12 play. So, hey, we appreciate you watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, all things like that. 500 subscribers. We're getting very, very close. We'll be doing the giveaway. So appreciate you watching, man. We'll see you Wednesday.